I've been in a lot of different rooms in my lifetime, and I always feel like the room, whatever room I enter, no matter how big the room is, I feel like the room always comes closer. you know, now whether it's being a
Paint,
basketball
paint
coach
that
or
paint that picture. Paint that picture.
so the other day I went into this seminar, which was awesome. I had a great time. I didn't know anybody there. Major marketing people. I mean, I'm the only athletic person in this. One of maybe there might have one other athletic person in this room. And so I'm going there. I mean, these are wealthy, well-established business professionals, high academic people, and I'm a basketball coach. And by the time we're there 2 days, I mean, I probably interacted with 96% of the room in 2 days. And I wasn't going around I was going around trying to meet people, but they were trying to find me to talk to me and to find out my experiences. And, I just want to be able to be better in those kind of moments.
Right on.
And I've never understood it. Like, I'll be honest, I've never understood it until you said that. I've never understood it why when I walk in a room, I feel like, there's attractions that happen within the room.
Yeah.
And I'm always, if someone said this, and man, you probably get pretty tired of this. And it's like, I said to him, no, it's kind of been this way my whole life, So I've learned to accept it, but I've never thought about it that way.
And when you identify yourself as a basketball coach, I come back and I say, and unless we were having this conversation, I'm not going to sit here unless we're in a conversation like this and say, no, you're not a basketball coach. But at the end of the day, you're not, man. I've had an opportunity to talk with you a good bit now. You're a leader, right? But before you're a leader, you're a champion. And so I can talk about somebody else's academic experience. I can talk about somebody else's business experience. But all I need to do is dive into that same experience, and we level up. It's like the guy that's played basketball for 10 years. I'm just coming onto the court my freshman year, touching the ball for the first time. Today, I know I can close the gap within a year to two by putting in the right type of training regimen, the right type of progression system. Back a while ago, if you had just told me that kid's played basketball for 10 years, I would have thought it was crazy. But when you learn what a champion does, and I'm talking tip-top level, man, and I don't care whether you're talking about a parent that just never lets up on making adjustments because they want to, maybe they're way too overboard and providing too much entitlement, but they're aware of what they're doing and they know their mission, and their mission is to create a child that is independent, meaning fully capable, but wants to be interdependent when they're with a group, meaning apart and delivering excellence to that team. Well, I know that I'm capable today. And when you're walking into a room with a whatever business, whatever MBA they came with, whatever level of business level platform they're on, there is no knowledge, no wisdom, no skill set that can't be gained by coming. Just got to come. And so, key point here is this: I don't look at Coach Jamion as a basketball coach. I look at Coach Jamion as a champion that can do whatever the heck he wants to do. And so, what's my path?
Yeah, I mean that's. Yeah, I mean, I think that's what it really is. Like, I think when people start asking me, what do you do? I'm going to start saying I'm a leader.
All right,
I'm going to go away from being I'm a basketball coach. I'm a leader.
Well, think about the leadership that a head basketball coach on the Division I level has. There's no business leader in any Fortune 500 company that is doing any more, any less than what you do. You have so many different areas that you're overlooking. You have so many different people reporting to you. So many different logistics that have to come into play that you're receiving it from this end, that end, making sure it's all together. That's business, man.
Yeah. We're working, one of the things we're working on developing a really, really strong speech. And one of my things is I have to give a lot of speeches. I don't get to just be an expert on one particular thing.
Right, right.
The human dynamic is not one particular thing. It's many things. And to be able to be knowledgeable enough and to speak about them with some clarity, that's a challenge. That's why I went to the speaking field, because I wanted to learn how to speak on multiple things better. But again, being a basketball coach, being a leader, it's not really just about one topic.
Yeah.
So I think there's going to be some valuable stuff really learned there. I want to talk a little bit about fearlessness. And we've talked about it in terms of growth.
Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about fearlessness and courage as a leader. I mean, you're a business owner, start your own business, you attack it. Where's that that fearlessness I feel like would be really needed for a lot of people to begin a task.
And Jamion, you just described exactly what you asked as you were leading up to the question.
I mean, that's such a bad question then.
Yeah, no, it's awesome, man. Like you mentioned the word challenge. Well, what does somebody fearless love? They love a challenge. What do we want every one of our leaders to be? We want them to be brave, which brave equals fearless. What does a brave person do? They take on a challenge. And so you just learn that you are meant to take on a challenge. Talk about that earner's spirit. Earner's spirit is the challenge. And so when you're talking fearlessness, fearless is the earner's spirit that just digs in, takes on the challenge with all their heart, no matter what's presented.
I mean, I can imagine. I'm trying to think through your perspective. You're in a town, you see there's a major need to be accomplished. How do you know it's going to be successful?
You don't. You have to believe. You have to believe. Now, to believe, and when I say you don't, you just do. And to understand that, you have to understand faith, right? If I'm going in, to believe is to know. To know is to have an endless array of hope. To have an endless array of hope is to know that there's always an adjustment, and it's going to be done at the end of the day. So repeat. That not everything works smoothly, but we're coming. That's the to believe is to know is to have hope, and to have hope is to have an endless array of adjustments, because what's not working, we'll find it.
Yeah. When I was we were at Bucknell, and I was a director of basketball operations. I was 25 years old. And I went to Bucknell, worked for a guy named Pat Flannery, an amazing head coach. They'd beaten Arkansas and Kansas back-to-back years in the NCAA tournament. I go there. Our first year, we finished tied for first in the Patriot League. And I think we won 25 or 26 games. My second year there, we have a little bit of a transition. Younger players are really talented. Older players can kind of hold the fort. So there's a little bit of a transition. Coach has some health issues, and he retires at the end of the year. Right. And so, we all felt like, man, we're with a really reliable head coach. We're at a program that's won. I mean, we had won as many games, and they had won, or we had won many games. It's Memphis at that time in Kansas over those 4 years. And they were top 5 in wins for program and over that 4 or 5 year span. So that's pretty. You're going to be safe if you're working there. It's about as safe as you can get. And then he abruptly retires. And I remember just saying, like, what are we going to do? And I had a job offer to go on the women's side. I actually got a job offer to stay at Bucknell as on the men's side as well and get promoted to an assistance coach. I had a job offer for a guy named Mike Young, who's now at Virginia Tech, who's at Wofford at the time, to go work for him as an assistant. I had a job offer to work at St. Francis, Pennsylvania as an assistant. And then a guy named Tony Shaver at William & Mary gives me a call. And I really believe in Coach Shaver and what they're doing at William & Mary. And so all these other things were more sure shots. Like all those other ones were job offers in hand. And I'm not saying someone should make their decisions on life based on this. All right. So I'm like wrestling with this decision. I'm driving home for a little bit of break to go see my parents. I pull over at this gas station, and and while I'm waiting at this gas station in line, they have the little card racks that are up there beside you.
Yeah.
And I look down, and there's one card left on this ring. Now, all these other rings had, 15, 20 cards left. And they're all interchanged. So it's not like this was one that they're all different ones. And it says leap and the net will appear.
Ah, okay. Okay.
And I'm like driving home, and I'm like, basically in my mind, I'm making a decision on where I'm going to go at the end of this ride. Maybe talk to my parents. And at this time, William Mary had not offered me a job. It was more like, I'm going to wait another month before I decide. I feel like you have a good shot, but it's not guaranteed.
Yeah.
And I grabbed this card. I bought it, 25-cent card. And I just said, I'm just going to take a chance on this.
Yeah.
Why?
Why in that moment did you say, I'm going to take a chance?
I had a great feeling about William and Mary. I just had a great feeling about it. I grew up down here. I knew the place. I knew where the basketball program was going. Walford was really good at the time. Both Bucknell programs were really good at the time, so I could have stayed with any of those. They were all winning. PA was kind of transitioning, but they ended up being pretty good right after that. But I just really liked the CAA conference. I liked William and Mary, and I liked Shaver.
Got it.
Everywhere Shaver had been, he'd won, found a way to win, and they had just come off they lost the conference championship game. First time I think William Mary had done that in a long time.
Okay.
So, but I mean, you could say all the facts, right? Like I just had a feeling. I just had a gut feeling when I talked to him. I was like, you know what? This person really needs me, and I really need them.
Okay.
And I always feel like when you make decisions based off both sides' needs,
if
I can feel a need for you and you can feel a need for me, we're going to work pretty well together.
Right.
And so I just felt like, man, I said, he really needs me. He needs someone like me that has the energy, the enthusiasm, that takes on challenges, and most importantly, that's going to believe in him.
Got it.
Sometimes you get that with a person. They take on challenges, they have great ambition, but then they can't follow anybody.
Well, you don't really believe in that scenario. Like the first scenario, that's fire. When you describe the belief that you have in your energy, and you describe the belief that you have in believing in the head coach and being who he needs you to be to represent the team, that's taking on the challenge. Anybody can want to be the all-star, right? Can want to be the point scorer, the key point scorer for the team. But it's the point scorer that believes in his teammates in a way that they're going to rise to the occasion. That takes it to a whole nother level. When you find a champion, that's gunning, like they might be 33, 34 points a game, but the whole team's doing something. That's it there, man. So when you talk about going in and knowing that Coach Schaefer, you were who Coach Schaefer needed, you knew you were going to bring another level to the team that was synergistic with that coach, and that's just different, man. That's different than wanting to go and have Coach Schaefer just give you praise.
Can you hear him?
Yeah, I hear him. Yeah. And I say that from a fearless aspect, because fearless has nothing to do with safe. Safe doesn't require courage. We are encouraging courage, and when you go because of what you believe you can bring to the table, that's different.
I think one of my biggest challenges, Jeff, is like I don't want to say I'm a big risk taker, but I believe heavily in myself. And I believe that, if you work really hard at things and you look at it differently and you're surrounded by the right people, anything can happen.
Yeah.
And now that's got me in some trouble. I mean, like people are like, man, you left Siena, you left a starting point guard that was one of the best players in the country. You left another all conference player. You left a guy who starts in Maryland.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I just was like, I believe so much in time and place and people. And there's so many times things haven't worked in life and people use this understanding to say, well, it hasn't worked, but we haven't had the right people in place. You haven't had the right kind of personality in place. You didn't have any luck.
Yeah.
Like you look at like the Cincinnati Bengals. It's man, well now they get Joe Burrow and it suddenly, they got the right people in place, so they just win more.
Right.
And,
Right.
and number one, it's hard to win. So people think it's really easy to win. I mean, there's each year there's 32 conference champions in college basketball. It's
Yeah.
hard to win. There's one division champion in every sport, East and West, every
Got it.
year.
Yeah.
And they play each other and one team wins. So I believe in time and place.
Yeah.
Right. And I think it's hard to evaluate time and place. I think that's the hardest thing because you are armed with the history of a lot of places that say, well, you can't do this here. It hasn't been done here. But I'm usually, I think what's scary with me is I'm usually, I like being in a place where it hasn't been done in a long time.
Yeah.
I like that challenge.
Yeah. Yeah. When you described it's hard to win, but when you're describing it from a team who has never won, it's pretty darn easy to win. You just have to believe that you can win. When you start to believe that you can win, now I say that, but at the same time, where there's a yin, there's always a yang. When you walk into a community that's used to being 500 or sub 500, well, you have a culture of people around you that where it's easy to win if you bring in a staff with you that's going to be the staff that the unit, meaning that your team is coming in under, to understand that you're going to cultivate the winning culture, right? The culture has to be cultivated. And when you're coming in with a team that's pointing in that direction, it's simple because it just leads to progress. It just does. I can't explain it. And I can explain it, but that's not for this. That's not for this specific talk we're having here. But at the end of the day, I can also have 8 other people that are punching what I'm saying in the mouth. Does that mean we couldn't have won there? No. I could take the same group of boys that somebody else could take, or the same group of girls that somebody else could take and lose with. I'll take and we'll become something special with. Guaranteed, bar none, if there's nobody else trying to poke holes in that game. If we come in and it's just a matter, I don't care what sport you're talking about. I don't care how bad they've been bad. I'll take that same unit you're talking about, can't win, needs the other side of town. If we were just here, and we'll go in and win. But if we don't get that mindset, if we've cultivated a culture that just knows we're going to lose, well, to believe is to know. To know is to have hope. If your hope is in losing, well, that's what you're going to do. But all day long, we're coming to win.
I just wrote down a note. You have to get everyone to buy into being fearless.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Courage. You have to have the courage not to be inadequate, not to be average, you have to have the courage to be everything.
And the courage not to listen to the ghost of the past.
Yeah. Or the ghost of the present.
Yeah.
The loud mouth saying we can't do it. You don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Fearlessness it's simple, and we can see it in a child all day long because it's the way they live. But as we get into the schools and we start, we create these grade A, B, C, D, E, and instead of letting them be where our children are and that the next step is taken, I take a math test and I get a D on it. Well, I have some more learning to do on that very math test. It's not time to move on to the next test quite yet because I'm just going to get further and further behind. And so when I put myself in an atmosphere, and whether that be when school's over and I can slow things down and really focus in one avenue, whether as a heating and air conditioning person or a salesperson or whatever the case may be, and I can go into one category and pour my life into it, it's at that time when I see my step is where I'm at, and I just need to keep getting better and better. But when we throw people in, and we have coaches on teams all the time saying, "This is my starter, this is my guy," and shunning this guy over here without knowing they're shunning him, saying, "Yeah, this guy won't get much time. This guy, this." Man, if we just have a group of people that are meant to make progress, and that's what a champion is. If you're making constant progress, you're a champion. You put a 13-man roster, and every single one of the men from 1 to 13 improves during the year. Because if you're the star player and you're not improving, I'm no good as a coach. If you're 13 and you're not improving, I'm no good as a coach. If we're not coming together as a team and dominating, I'm no good as a coach. Everybody levels up 1 degree. We just went somewhere, not 500 to 525. We just went somewhere crazy. 1 degree, everybody.
I love it. I think that's a good place for us to end today. Appreciate you joining us. Winning in the Margins with Jeff and Jamion. This week, choose courage over fear. Thank you for your time.